So there have been many protests, yellow vest protests all over Canada now, across Canada today, in Toronto, Ottawa, Calgary, Edmonton, St. John, all over the country. It's funny how I was talking about how they should come to Canada, and right after I'm done saying that, I mean, this just goes to show, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm taking responsibility. I mean, this has been planned, I'm sure, for a while, but the thing is that what I have to say and the methods that I advocate to bring this country back, a lot of people love and respect and listen to. And as a result, we see this great movement that started out in France, a great nation. I don't care what you have to say about France or the French. Some of you anti-French, anti-kind of, I don't care what you have to say. That's a great nation. A movement which started there is now coming to Canada, and we are going to fight, and we're going to take this country back. We're going to take it back by force if we have to. And there's a lot of things we could talk about in Canada. I mean, I will say one thing that one of the issues that they were talking about, which it was a little disappointing. I mean, you know, the yellow vests out in Europe, they're talking about the high cost of living, how globalism, you know, really affects average men and women, especially in small towns, forces people to move to big cities and do minimum wage work and just live like serfs. And they're angry about the high cost of living, which many people, left, right, and center, are angry about. I'm a little disappointed that many of these protests, all y'all were talking about was, you know, immigration and Islam and all this kind of stuff. I mean, you know, that's, and then people wonder why not a lot of these protests are, you know, a lot of people go. I mean, you know, we could, you know, organize better. I mean, I'm against Islam all day and night. I made a video about the UN migrant compact. I'm against that as well. I'm dead against it, but you know, we have to look at what this movement was started by. And it was started by average men and women who specifically have a message: stop hosing us financially, stop raping us financially, stop milking us like cows financially. Let's stop this foolishness. Let's stop working like dogs at some godforsaken factory only to have a little bit to live off of at the end of the day, a message that many people can stand by and support. I mean, that is what we need to talk about. And we have a lot of that in this country as well. I mean, in fact, I would say the situation is even worse in Canada than it is in France. It's worse. Canadians are hosed by taxes. Canadians are hosed by the transit system. Canadians are hosed by the education system. Canadians are hosed by big foreign globalist corporations. I mean, Canadians are hosed left, right, and center. We can talk about these stuff, and we have to talk about these stuff. And I'm sick of all this stuff that's going on in this country. And I'm glad that the Yellow Vests have come to Canada. I'm for them. I stand with them. I stand with them. Yes, I do. Doggone it. Yes, I do. And I have to say this. And I know some people, oh, we have to be this. Listen. I am not afraid to get my hands dirty here. I'll go tell you that right now. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty for this country. You know, I'm not one of those people from the Middle East who, whenever there's some dictator or something that causes problems, I'm going to run to some other country. Listen, if my government abuses me, I'm going to stay right here. I can move to America if I want. I'm a dual citizen, but I'm born in Canada. This is my country. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to fight. I ain't going nowhere. I hear Canadians all up and down the place saying, I wish I could move to America. Listen, you ain't going to kick me out of Canada. You ain't going to kick me out of here. I'm going to stay right here until hell freezes. I'm going to stay here until the flames of hell burn up this country, and I'll still stay here, and I'll fight until you kill me, arrest me, torture me. I'll stay here, and I'll fight, and I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. If I have to come up in the street and riot and tear up stuff and cause problems, I'll do it. Just like my brothers and sisters in France. And I say, vive la France and vive le gilet jaune. I say that. because they're fighting for what they believe in, and they are fighting against a system which is abusing them. And we Canadians have been turned into cows. We're nothing but cows. We get milked financially every day by Mr. Charlie and Aunt Jemima, the farmer and his wife. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And then you got a bunch of sheep who constantly either vote for the parasites that keep sucking us dry, or they are aloof or don't do anything about it, don't give a rat's behind, sit on their butts at home, don't care, or they say they're conservative and they advocate, but they're doing everything wrong, and they're doing everything that will destroy what we have to achieve. So I say, yes, this is a great step. Today has been a great day for Canada. I'm happy, but we need to organize our message. For those of you who are in Alberta, you all need to talk about how the government is screwing you all and screwing your oil sector, because you all are being screwed. You all are being raped in Alberta, and don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Don't sit up there and talk about Islam all day and night. Listen, we can talk about that till we're blue in the face, but your oil sector is being raped from you by the long-haired Mac Daddy Justin Trudeau. And don't think that Rachel Notley cares, because she don't care. She said Alberta's an embarrassing cousin or whatever she said. Alberta's oil and energy sector is being hosed, raped. Thousands of oil jobs are being. You think everybody gets all upset with GM here in Ontario, and I'm very upset with that. But imagine GM happening 100 million times over. It's happening in Alberta. Look at what's happening in GM, this foreign American company which comes to Canada. And I agree, the Canadian government is to blame, because they don't have a system in Canada where businesses feel comfortable to create jobs and invest and create wealth. But they come here, hire a bunch of people, force the town to be dependent on this one company, and then they decide to leave, tear up the town, and everybody's on their bums on the street, and they're just expected to get by, and you're just expected to just find your way to get by. Those are things we need to talk about. You young people out there my age who can't afford cars, who can't afford houses because you got the Asian elite, which I'm not against Asians, but they come, buy up all our properties, jack up our prices. We can't afford homes in this country. We Canadians can't even afford property in our own country. In our own country, we can't afford it. And then college tuition, university tuition, they hose us. The intelligentsia, the so-called liberals who want to be all socialism, but they hose us financially with the educational system. Those are things we need to be talking about in this country. And then our culture is being taken away, and we have people coming to Canada who can't speak English or French, and who don't have 2 pennies to rub together. We're supposed to take care of them. These are things that we need to talk about in this country. And then we got a long-haired, 2-timing Mac Daddy, straight from the pit of hell, Justin Trudeau, who is, with a smirk on his face, running this country into the ground. And we need to say, enough! Enough! Enough, Canada! Enough! Enough! We're going to stop this! We're going to fight this system! We're going to fight it! And I'm glad the Yellow Vests have come to Canada. It's a start, but it's by no means the end. Don't get complacent. We need to ramp up. And I send my condolences to those in Ottawa who were attacked by Antifa. We saw some French-like scenes out there in Ottawa where Antifa tried to beat you all guys up, tried to kill all you guys up, and the police, I don't know what they were up to, but, this is what we need to fight. We're fighting a huge snake. We're fighting a snake, and we're fighting a snake in Canada. I think it's worse than in France. It's way worse. 10 times worse. You think France is bad. Emmanuel Macron is nothing compared to this long-haired Mac Daddy that we have here right now. He's nothing. He's a pussycat compared to Justin the long-haired Mac Daddy Trudeau. He's a little Care Bear or a little Teletubby compared to Justin the long-haired Mac Daddy Trudeau. But in a whole, we need to stop being financially hosed. We need to save our Canadian culture. We need to stop having foreign global companies coming to our country and abusing our workers. If they decide, and I'm talking about foreign companies, not Canadian companies, they do their own thing. But if foreign companies come to Canada and then decide they're going to leave and lay off people and destroy an entire town, we need to have the balls to say, hey, we're going to take this company back from you. We're going to take it and we'll have to nationalize it and turn it into a Canadian company and then reprivatize it and give it back to other Canadians. But you're not going to do this to us. You come here, you're going to respect us. That's what we're going to do. Yes, it's not exactly a very neoliberalistic thing to say, but listen, I'm a populist nationalist. I'm no neoliberal. I am a neoliberal to a certain extent. I have libertarian aspects. I am a fiscal conservative in some ways, but I'm not fiscal conservative to the extent where I'm going to open up my legs and allow American or European or Chinese or Arabian companies to come to this country and rape us. This is the Arana Nation.